Hello, viewers, and welcome to our first interview for expatinterview.com. I'm in my first city of Mini in Merida, Mexico, in the Yucatan. I'm here with Bernadette Sanders, who's an administrator of one of the most popular Facebook groups in all of the Yucatan Peninsula, which is geared toward expats seeking to retire abroad. The name, the name of her group is Living in Merida Expat Experience. I hope all the information we have to provide for you on expatinterview.com is helpful and in your research and choosing options for retirement abroad. Once again, this is Bernadette Sanders, and I'm your host of expatinterview.com, David Walley. Bernadette, welcome, and I appreciate you taking the time to spend with us for this interview. And I'm sure our viewers appreciate your time as well. Now, as I'm sure you're well aware, those who are seeking to retire abroad, three of their primary concerns are safety, healthcare, and cost of living. Those topics are going to be the foundation for our interview. But there's a lot of things we want to discuss. Anything you feel is important you'd like to share with us as well, please, offer that information as well.
Okay.
So, Bernadette, tell us where you're from.
Awesome. So I'm from the United States of America. I was living in Arizona, but I'm actually a Midwesterner by birth. But I've lived all over the state. So, but I came from Arizona when I came here.
Yeah, and I know you drove down, which
Yes.
I heard that was quite the experience.
Yes,
for you.
it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Would you recommend that to others considering a move here?
No, absolutely not. I would not recommend a drive from the States to Merida. The roads are totally different than what we're used to in the United States. And right now there's a lot of crime and cartel things going on in the central parts of the country. So I definitely would not recommend that. We were stupid, but we made it anyway. So knock on wood, we were safe.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So yes, I definitely recommend if you choose to come, but you don't choose to drive, which I do not recommend driving. If you ship your car over, or if you buy a car, I recommend you having a car here. A lot of people do Uber, but it's just not the same. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. And on the other side of the coin, I mean, I'm going to only be in the country for 6 months, so
Right.
bringing
So
a car down would have been an advantage.
No.
But Uber here is so cheap. I feel guilty when I get in a car.
Yes.
I always tip the maximum.
Yes.
Because I don't see how they pay for their gas.
Right.
By
Right.
comparison, back home in Bradenton, Florida, I mean, I can go to the beach from here 25 miles for cheaper than I can go 4 miles back home.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, gas is really not that expensive.
I thought it was more here.
It really isn't.
Okay.
It's about 21 pesos. 20 pesos is about $1. So
That's
it's
per
about
liter,
21
though.
pesos a liter.
Yeah.
So it's about $3 or so if you look at it a gallon.
Gotcha.
It's really not that bad.
So how long have you been here in Merida now?
I've been here almost 2 years.
2
Been
years.
here almost 2 years.
So has it been a good decision for you?
It has been a good decision. It really has. I mean, I think you go through an adjustment period. My daughter's here with me. She's an adult. But of course, she's definitely gone through an adjustment period because it's a little harder to find people her age. And a lot of the people her age are more transient because they're here and then they're gone.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's a little harder, I think, for her. But I've definitely found a lot of nice people. And
Good.
yeah.
Well, your group helps a lot with that.
Yes, it does. Yes,
Wonderful
it does.
group. I'm so
Thank you.
happy that I signed up for
I am
it.
too.
Back in the States.
Yes.
So when you were in your research process prior to coming here, did you research any other cities in Mexico or any other countries?
I should have brought my daughter down with me. Oh my gosh,
You
she
should
would have
have.
been like, "Oh, Mom." Yeah, so I did. There's a city on the other coast, on the west coast, called Rocky Point. I can't remember what the Mexican name is for it.
Okay.
But I was coming out of the Phoenix area. I lived in Gilbert. So everyone would go to Rocky Point, and it's about a 5-hour drive from Phoenix. And so my daughter, when we were researching, was like, no, Mom, we don't need to go to Rocky Point because everybody goes to Rocky Point and there's nothing to do in Rocky Point. And she's right. Because all I was looking at is like in Rocky Point, you could buy like land right on the beach for like $10,000 for a lot. Yeah. But it's just land. So it hasn't been, nothing is, no plumbing, no nothing, no house, just land. When my daughter found Merida, not me, she found it. When she found Merida, we started researching, and I was like, it's a pretty place. We started, looking at all the different expat YouTube videos, and it was pretty nice. So I was like, okay, I kind of like it. And then we made several trips before we actually moved here. And they were trips to actually physically go and look whatever. So I knew where I wanted to live because I had found where I wanted to live. We started researching maybe about 9 months before we moved down here. And so maybe 7 months before we moved down here, I had decided what part of the city I wanted to live in.
So what about other countries? Did you research any other countries?
Like I said, we looked at Europe, but I really wanted to be closer to home. That's what I wanted.
Yeah, that's a big plus. That's one reason I started out here for my many places that I'll be going.
Awesome.
Unlike you, once I researched one country in one place, I'd scratch my head, well, I wonder what this would be like. I wonder what that'd be. So I wound up researching half the countries in Central America, South America, and Southeast Asia. It was like a 10-year process.
Wow.
So, yeah, a lot of research gone down, and which actually has led to expatinterview.com. Because the one thing I could never find that I wanted to find is this.
Yes.
This relationship with a camera.
Yes.
I wanted to see the faces, hear the people talk about it, not some blogger that just tells a story about a conversation he had with somebody.
Right.
So, yeah.
Definitely.
So, what about the weather? What do you think of this weather?
Well, it doesn't bother me. Like right now, we're getting a great breeze. The heat, because
one thing I find is there's always a nice breeze.
Yes.
I cannot remember a nice breeze. So, I mean, that helps tremendously.
This is a beautiful breeze. During the summer, it does rain because it's hurricane season, but the hurricanes go up to Florida, so they kind of bypass and skirt and then hit Florida. So it does rain, and then it'll stop raining. But it's a beautiful breeze, like you said, all year. Around January, for a couple weeks, it gets down to like the 60s, and that's usually at night. So, and there's no heat in the houses.
Let's get to our big topics, main three. Safety. Tell us about safety. How do you feel? Do you feel safe in Merida?
I do. And I got to tell you, even my drive down, I felt safe. I had a mishap on the road, and we were stuck on the road for 24 hours, but we still felt somewhat safe. Being, stuck on the road, we still felt safe.
Right.
But here in Merida, I definitely still feel safe. I feel very safe in my home. I feel safe when I'm out and about. I know I had someone ask me one time, down by the English library, is it safe at night? And I'm like, I believe it is. There are a lot of expats that live over there. Yes, I'm going to say yes. I've never been late at night, but during the daytime, it's super safe. So, yes, I feel safe.
I think anybody that's done any research, they've probably found the same information that I have.
Yes.
Merida is known as the safest city in all of Mexico.
Yes.
The second safest city in the Americas.
Right.
And I believe I read an article that said 17th safest in the world. So,
yes.
Anybody that's afraid to go somewhere, it shouldn't be Merida. And what about healthcare? If you utilize the healthcare system here, do you participate in it?
So I don't. I should. I haven't yet. I'm thinking about it. I actually have a visual disability because I do have doctors here. I see. I have lupus also,
Oh,
so I see a doctor for lupus. I have a general practitioner. I have a gynecologist. I have eye specialists, and I pay them. I don't use the insurance. I could, but I haven't started using or applying to use it yet. Um,
are you on
it's
a permanent residency?
I have a temporary residency, so I'll sit for 4 years and then I'll become permanent after
Gotcha.
that. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Is there an
So,
advantage to doing it that way?
well, if you do a permanent residency, you have to buy like a property. At least this is how it used to be. I don't know what the rules
Yeah.
are right now.
Anymore, no.
Okay, so you used to have to buy a property over a certain amount, or you'd have to sit for 4 years. Um, so when we did our temporary residency, we did the Amnesty Program. So we didn't do it in the States. We did it
Gotcha.
here. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah.
and they asked me, "Do you want permanent?" And I was just like, "I don't think I should be getting permanent right now." So we got we
Yeah.
got temporary. So we've got
It's
4
gotten
years.
really expensive to qualify for permanent residency now. Actually, I just got on the Mexico's website. Here's the most up-to-date information from that website. You have to show $181,968 in savings for the last 12 months, or $4,549 in Social Security income. There's no other countries. It's astronomical.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Well, and I can see that. I mean, they're kind of trying not to get everybody coming here because that's what's going on. It's like a mad exodus that's coming here, and it's bumping up the prices for
People think
everything.
it's the other way around.
Right, and it's not. It really
Young
is
people
not.
are coming
They're
here.
coming here.
Young
It's a
people are
mad
coming.
exodus from the States and Canada, and they're
Yeah,
just coming
yeah.
here like mad. But
Yeah.
we did the Amnesty Program, and doing the Amnesty Program, we didn't have to show our income.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
What is an amnesty program?
And then I read about the Amnesty Program, and someone down here had done, a lady I know had done the first Amnesty Program here. So what it is you come here, you have to have come here several times. Like at the time when they first started it, I think you had to come between 2015 and 2020, at least once.
Gotcha.
And then you could qualify for the Amnesty Program. Now I think the dates may have changed a little, but when you qualify for the Amnesty Program, you have to let your visas ride out. So we came in on a tourist visa for 6 months.
Gotcha.
I hear they're not doing 6 months anymore, really. That's what I've heard. I don't know.
I got 6 months.
You got 6 months? Okay, perfect. So you come in and then you ride your visa out. And once your visa has expired, then you can go to immigration and ask for the special amnesty program. I would use
They still have
a
that in
visa
place.
program. They
I'll be
do.
darned.
They do. Yep, they still
So
had
it's
it in
kind of like
place.
forgiving you for overstaying your visa,
Yeah.
and then letting you approve, file for temporary residency.
Yep.
Wow.
So you have to pay for your visa. You also have to pay a penalty for overstaying the visa. Your tourist visa. So you have to pay a penalty for that and everything.
It's minuscule though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. So we ended up, I think we may have paid, we went through a service, so altogether, may have paid about $750 US per person
Gotcha.
to do it.
Well, that's another avenue that I hadn't even heard of. So,
and you
for those
don't have to
people
show
who
your
are more
income.
desperate. Well, I'm wondering if you go to become permanent resident from your temporary. I'm wondering if you will of that.
Yeah. So what will happen is in 4 years, when it's time for me to renew my temporary residence, I'll just go in and I'll become a permanent resident because I've sat for 4 years on a temporary. So once you sat for 4 years on a temporary, you can become a permanent resident.
All right.
So that's what'll happen. So we'll
and you don't have to go through any of the income qualifications. And wow.
Nope, because we've been here.
So there's an avenue, folks. If you're, if you really want to be in Mexico and those numbers financially are too much for you, which are a lot of people, there's a way to do it. So what about cost of living?
Cost of living. It's, well, okay, so everybody's like, it's so super cheap. I've seen videos where people say, oh, you can get a house for $280 US. Yeah, you can, but
do you want them?
Yeah, but you know what? You pay for what you get.
Yeah,
you do. You pay for what you get. Food wise, I've seen the prices in the last year and a half starting to creep up. As far as the food prices are concerned, but it's still affordable. It's two of us, and I have 2 dogs, and it's 2 people in my home. And so I usually, because I come down to Central a couple times a week, and so I usually go to the market here at Santiago Market. And so I go and I buy all my fresh produce, my tortillas, because I can get them fresh. But yeah, so I go to the market there, and I usually spend weekly just going to the market, maybe 400 pesos for 2 people.
Yeah.
And that gets me, so 400 pesos altogether. So 200 pesos on one trip, 200 pesos on another trip. 200 pesos is about 10 to 12, maybe $13 tops. Excuse me. So a little under $30 a week for fresh produce. And that usually gives me about 2 huge recyclable bags full of groceries. Yeah. So I get that, and we have fresh produce all week, and then I stop at the other stores, and it's affordable.
And you go through the produce cleaning process. Yeah, that's the thing here. You got to make sure you're cleaning that produce.
Yes. So we bought some special spray for it. So we put it in a thing, and we spray it down, and we clean it, and yes. And then you have to think about water also here, because you can't drink the tap water. You need a water service. So that's part. It's like 36 pesos for water to be delivered.
It's negligible for sure.
No. So it's pretty good.
So the way I look at the cost of living, I mean, definitely from where I'm from, housing is almost 60% less. So it's a huge thing. Groceries, a little bit less. I mean, a 12-pack of Coors Light there is $11 back home. Here it's $8.25. So that's the most important thing.
But the cost of living, you can definitely live comfortably, and like you said, and you can find really affordable homes. You can find big houses.
You can stay in Airbnb way cheaper than you can rent back home. I mean, Airbnb is so cheap.
And they have a Marriott residence, and it's really cheap too, from what I hear.
I mean, for a 1-bedroom, I'm paying $460 a month through Airbnb.
Oh, that's good.
And then when I go out to Progresso, I've got a place there for 4 months. Same money, $460 a month. And that's 3 blocks off the beach. So that's one thing, folks, here in Merida. You're only 23 miles from the Gulf Coast. Beautiful beaches out there. So real easy to get to as well.
It is. I live maybe about 15-minute drive from Progresso.
Oh, do you? So you're in between here and
there.
I'm
in between.
Nice.
And it's the my view of Progresso is really, really awesome. And it's nice. It's nice. It's very nice. And
wonderful. So I think we've covered our 3 major topics, and I certainly do appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
And I hope this is beneficial to our viewers, getting to get all this information. So as always, folks, I hope these interviews are going to be helpful to you. There's many, many more coming over the next few years. This is numero uno. I speak Spanish now.
There you go.
And that's a wrap. Cut.